음, 맞아. I see what he's done here. Wait, I don't know what it is. You have to with me. I don't want you to do. That's what I'm missing. Kita na. Hmm. Niคืออืมอืม
going to give people like a couple minutes just to make sure everyone's here, and then I'll explain how the test is going to work. Agenda in the chat. Okay, so your first part is on Savas, and it is worth 2 grades. It has coordinate questions. Mostly. So like the part of the topic 6 where we had to write the new coordinates after doing transformations and where we had to say if things were congruent or not, that part of the topic 6 is in the Savas test. If you go to Savas right now, you won't see it. It becomes active at 9:15. Accepted until tomorrow at midnight. That's the deadline for this test. Okay, so that's one part. The second part is a drawing part, because being able to do these drawings is also worth 2 academic grades, and it's on Desmos. Okay, and the link for that I'll put in the chat by 9:15, and you will have until tomorrow night at midnight to complete that part as well. So before you get started on the test, are there any questions? Did anybody have anything that came up when they were doing their topic 6 review on Savas, or when they were doing their 6.4b problem set drawings on Desmos that they want to ask about? Yes, Trip.
So, specifically on Desmos, when you ask, like, so there's 2 sets of, like, there's the QRS, is like what it's like QRS, as in it has like the little points thing. It's like it's the second version of it.
Yeah,
It
prime.
says that they're the prime. Yeah. It says that they're like, how are these like and I don't get that.
So is that on the 6.4b one?
Pretty sure.
Okay. So I think that was like the quadrilaterals, and the lines across from each other are parallel, but let me go double check real quick. I can assure you that there actually, I don't think, is a question like that on your test, but let me double check real quick. So it was 6.4b, and you guys probably got this, I'm not sure. When was June 1st? That was a while back. This is your class or not? Yeah, it is. Hey, that was good luck. Okay, let me find you. And do you remember which slide it was on, Trip?
There. Oh, go back. There, right there.
Oh, okay. So it says if side QR is parallel to side ST, then how are side Q prime, R prime, and side S prime, T prime related? So because we know when we do these transformations, so far at least, the ones we learned, translation, reflection, and rotation, they result in a congruent shape. That means it's the same size and the same angles. So if QR, so this side right here, from this dot down to here, this line is parallel to this line. They're asking, will those two lines still be parallel in the new shape? And the answer is yes, because they're congruent, right? So this Q prime, R prime, if you extended it out forever, let me do that. So if you extended this thing out, right, it's never gonna cross this line. That's kind of the definition of a trapezoid, but also it's the definition of congruent. So like, if this shape is congruent to that shape, then that shape's parallel lines, this shape will also have parallel lines. So the answer should be A will also be parallel, like that. You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Any other questions that we have on anything? You can just unmute your mic and say if you want, because I can't see the hands raised on this screen. Okay, I'm staying on this screen because I do want to show you something. Oops. Go back up to the top and pick a blank one. So let's see here. Okay, so like this one right here, you're gonna have 4 drawings on your Desmos test. One thing you have to do is you have to be able to label the points properly, not with the coordinates, but like with A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. Also on the test, it's gonna say to draw both images. So what that means, like for example on this one, we have to do a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation about the point A. So when it's not the origin, I'm just gonna do this one for you real quick. When it's not the origin, you make like a new coordinate grid kinda. So you can see where you're gonna rotate around. So actually, A is also A prime because you're spinning it around point A. And then C prime will be, let's see, if we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and over 1, then we have to go over 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and down 1 to get our new point. So that'll be here. That will be C prime. And then for B, we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1. So instead, we're going to go over 1 and down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so this point right here will be B prime. Okay, so then you draw your shape. So that's the first one, right? That's the rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise about point A. Right? This is a little different than about the origin. So that's your first image. But then it says to do a translation, 5 units down and 6 units right. So then I'm going to have to draw that one. So 5 units down would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6 units right would be here for 1 point. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, I forgot to turn on the line. Okay, so then this one is now no longer B prime, right? Let me move that up here. That's for that one. And this one, move it over there. Okay, so then this one is C double prime. This is A double prime, and this one is B double prime. So why do I bother showing you this? Because when we did these drawings on Desmos in class for our classwork activities, you only had to draw these two. But some of you made mistakes when you only drew these two, because you were imagining this middle shape in your head and maybe you imagined it wrong. So on the test, you have to draw both. So you have to draw the first image and label it with the A prime, B prime, C prime. And then you have to draw the final image and label it with the double prime, double prime, double prime. So I'll show you what I mean with the test. So this is the test, and this is your link. So no one should be in it just yet, right? So I go to like a student page, and let me just show you like this, for example. So see how it says you have to do a translation 6 units right and a reflection across the x-axis, and then you see what it says, draw both steps. So you need to have this triangle, you need to translate it and draw it and label it A prime, B prime, C prime. And then you have to do the reflection and draw it and label it A double, B double, C double prime. So when you're done with this screen, you'll have this green triangle and then 2 other triangles somewhere on the grid. Okay, this drawing component is probably the part, well, actually, I don't know which part you'll want to do first, but one thing I can say about this part of the test is that if you leave without finishing it, when you rejoin, your work will be gone. So you want to do this part of the test when you have a long stretch of time. So if it were me, I'd probably do the Savas part of the test first. So the Savas part of the test is called Topic 6 Test, Coordinates and Congruence. I would probably do this part first, because you can, if this class ends and you need to go to second period and you're not done, it will save your work. And then this afternoon, when you have that long hour and 15-minute chunk, that's when I would probably finish up this one and then do my drawings, because I'd have that long chunk of time to do it in. Hopefully that strategy makes sense to you guys. This test right here only has 6 questions, so there's not a whole lot of room for error. So make sure you go really slowly. And a lot of it has to do with entering the coordinates. Like, it won't give you a picture. It will tell you the coordinates of the original shape, and it will ask you to write the coordinates of the new shape. And you just have to be really careful and go really slowly. Honestly, for me personally, when I did it, sometimes I had graph paper by me and I would actually draw the shape and then do the transformation and see where the new coordinates were before I entered my answer. Sometimes I would use the rules. So remember, the rules for coordinates are on page 324. Let me put that in the chat for you. So first, let me just say, if there are 2 transformations, be sure to draw them both. Really important. You won't get full credit, and that will be, even if your final picture is right, you won't get full credit. So you need to make sure you follow those directions, okay? And then for Savas and the coordinate question, a good reference page is 324 in your book, because grab that link on the page I was just on, in case you want to start with that one, or just so you have it, right? It'll be in the chat and you can always go back and get it. So, activity page. Get the link. There it is. So 4 grades. So even if your grade hasn't been going so well 4th quarter, this is a great chance to bring it up. And if your grade has been going well, you're probably going to do great because you're probably on a roll. If you just want to go up a little bit, maybe this could be a great chance. So it's a really nice opportunity, way to finish the year strong. So good luck. I'm going to stay in the meeting, obviously, for questions that come up. I may or may not be able to help because it is a test. There are no retakes and there's no extensions. It has to be done by tomorrow night at midnight. That's when the 8th grade book closes. So sadly, unless there's some sort of an emergency that a parent contacts me for, there's no extensions on this one. So good luck. And yeah. That's all I can say. Good luck. I hope you do great. I think you probably will. If you've been doing your work, you should be just fine. So go for it. Oh, and I guess if you want to leave the meeting to do it, you can. There's no requirement.
Why are you in mine? Lên mấy ngày.
Okay, anyways, while we wait for people to join us, I thought I would just get into what we're doing today, which, by the way, this is our last normal class. Yeah, this is our last normal class. This is the last time that we'll all be together on Teams and things be like kind of normal because next week's schedule is really weird. You can clap for that if you're excited about school coming to a close. Yes. If you're sad about that, because I know some people just like really love school. I wish there was a sad reaction, but I guess you can react with a laugh because it's like a manic, I'm sad laugh. No one. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, this is our last like normal Thursday of school. Also, next Thursday is the like graduation / promotion, which means that a week from now you guys will be like semi-official high school people. What? Yeah, pretty wild stuff. Today I'll take attendance really quick. I want to talk about the final project just a little bit because I've like talked about this final project reflection thing to different individual people. And with the reflections that I've seen come in so far, I'm realizing that we just need to have a short sit down, talk about it with everybody, and make sure that we're all on the same page with the reflection. So we'll talk about that, and then I have a survey for us. I guess I'll also go over the schedule for the last week of school because it's gonna be weird. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. If you could please unmute yourself and tell me you're here, that would be great. Simon. Here. Will.
Here.
Dipper. Isaac.
Here.
Oscar.
Here.
Jack.
Here.
Damien.
Here.
Zach.
Here.
Greta.
Here.
Sebastian. Oh no. Haha. Adele.
Here.
Gwen.
Here.
Emma.
Here.
Talia.
Here.
Dylan.
Here.
Chloe.
Here.
Ace. Griffin. Jeevan.
Here.
Tova.
Here.
Aaron. Elise. Oh yeah. Avery.
Here.
Elsa.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Julius.
Here.
Marie.
Here.
Grant. Simone.
Here.
Gabby. Lillian.
Here.
Okay. Ooh, thanks guys.
Miss Norvard,
Yeah,
you marked me here, right?
I did.
Okay.
And yeah, Sebastian, I saw that. When I called your name, I saw you leave and I was like, oh, he clicked the leave button. It happened. It had to happen one more time, right? Before the end of the year was up. Okay, so I guess the first thing I want to talk about is the final project reflection. Oh, speaking of the final project, if you are a cohort B person, cohort B, you're coming into school today, the final project is due today, which is totally wild, right? Like this due date just like snuck up on us, but it's due today. This due date was posted in a couple of different places. I got a few messages about like, wait, what? It's due today? Yeah, it's due today. The due date was in our final project folder. So if you look at 610, it says cohort B working on final and final due by the end of the class. And I think it's also my scrolling does not work. It's also in our current weekly folder. So cohort B, final project due today. So if you're a cohort B person, we should be hopefully like really close to finishing our project. And if you're coming in today, then today's class period would be a great time to work on the reflection. And I want to talk about the reflection for everybody's sake. If you're, cohort C, or if you're cohort A, and maybe you want to start it early. You may have received this blue paper in class that has all of the questions on it. There's 4 questions for the reflection. 2 of them require a little bit of writing, and then 2 of them are pretty easy, straightforward, and quick to finish. So I want to go over those 4 questions and how you should go about answering them if you want to do well on the reflection and if you want to do well on your final project. The reflection, I will say, is 200 points, while the creative part of your project is 300. Okay, so it's a little bit less than half of your final project grade. Okay, so the first question on your reflection, Jeevan, yeah.
Wait, so is the project due at the end of class today, like in-person class, or is it like due by 11:59 today?
Yeah, I think I'll push it to 11:59. I think when I wrote this first calendar, I was very hopeful that we would be like done in class, but yeah, I think we'll make it like the end of the day. Not
Okay.
the school day. Yeah. Okay, so the first question on the reflection is, what is the final project? Technically, it's explain what your final creative project is and how does it answer the question, what does it mean to be a hero? So for that question of like, what is your final project? I'm going to show you an example of how I went about answering this. So if you're cohort A or B, you probably saw my example final project where I made this book cover of this person in a Spider-Man outfit holding someone over a dangling cliff, and they're like climbing up the cliff. And the book is called The Everyday Hero. So here's how I would answer this question of this: what is your project? For my final creative project, I chose to make a book cover titled The Everyday Hero. On it, there's a girl holding another girl's hand, helping her up the side of a cliff. The book cover illustrates how being a hero is difficult work, but highly rewarding. It also very often includes interacting with people in need. Because being a hero entails interacting with other people, nearly every single person on this planet could be a hero in some way. So you'll notice that for my answer, I have sort of 2 halves. The first half explains what my final project is. Just said like it's a book cover and here are the things that are on the book cover. Here's what's happening. And then the second half digs a little bit into the idea of like, what does it mean to be a hero? Or like, how does this book cover explain what it means to be a hero? So I wrote 2 sentences explaining what's on the cover and 3 sentences explaining like how it's related to my main question. Okay, so I think for most people, for question 1, your answer is probably going to be like 3 to 5 sentences. So question 2 is probably the most important question. So if you're only half paying attention, I would suggest that you pay full attention to this part. So question 2, hold on. Sorry. Question 2 is about what your 5 creative choices are and how the 5 creative choices relate to being a hero. Oh, Simon, do you have a question?
Yeah. Are we doing this on the computer, like are we typing it out, or are we writing it out?
You can choose to type or handwrite. I will take either. I do think it's like neater to type it out, but if you like writing by hand, you miss it a little bit, that's fine. I'll take it. Okay, so for question 2, the question is, what are your 5 creative choices? How do they relate to what it means to be a hero? What I'd like you to do is to bullet point out your 5 things, okay? So on my document, it looked like an A, B, C, D, and E. And I named what each of my creative choices were. So like my title, the everyday hero, I listed out the Spider-Man outfit, and then I would list out 3 more of my choices. Let me read what I ended up writing for my first creative choice, the everyday hero title. So the everyday hero title, to be a hero means that anyone at any time could be one. Kamala Khan became a superhero very randomly. She wasn't chosen because of anything special. She just happened to be at the right place at the right time, which for her meant in the middle of Jersey City during the Blue Fog event. I think that's true for all heroes. You don't need some special quality in order to help people and make a difference for the world's good. You just need to be there, be present, and be willing. Okay, so in my answer, you guys will notice I explained my title, why I picked it. And then I also talked about Kamala. Even though Kamala is not on my book cover at all. Okay. The reason I ended up talking about Kamala was because I really wanted to like justify why I think like anybody could be a hero. I wanted to, I guess, like use evidence a little bit to explain myself and explain my creative choice. So I thought I'm gonna use Kamala because we've been talking about her for the last couple of weeks. I'll use her in my answer. So I explained like how Kamala was an everyday hero, how she just like randomly becomes one. She's in the right place at the right time. And then I go back to talking about how like, yeah, so that's true for all heroes. Like anybody could be one. And then in my second response, I did something a little bit similar where I explained what the outfit meant and then how it relates to Kamala or like how it relates to heroes. So you might be asking yourself, do you have to use Miss Marvel in your answers on this reflection? And the answer is no, you don't have to use Kamala. You don't have to use Miss Marvel to explain yourself on your reflection. But does it help? I think so, yes. Okay. So you don't have to use Kamala in your responses, but if you do use Kamala, I think your reflection responses will be like much, much stronger. Okay? Because I could have just said, like, to be a hero means anyone can be one at any time. Period. The end. But that was not a very, like, thorough, thoughtful, deep response. So shoot for having responses that are a couple of sentences long. Are there any questions about question 2? Question 3 is pretty straightforward. The question is just, what resources did you use? So I used Ms. Marvel and I used class discussions to help me like think about my project, to help me come up with ideas for my project, and to help me write the reflection. So list whatever you ended up using. It could be like Wikipedia articles, it could be other comics or movies. You might have used family members or friends to help you come up with stuff for your project. You also could have used your own prior knowledge. So whatever you ended up using, just bullet point list it. You don't have to be more fancy than that. And then question 4 is scoring yourself. So on the back side of this blue paper that I gave you guys, and if you lost it, I have extra. On the back side, there is a rubric. So you'll go through the rubric and circle whatever you think you deserve for this final project. You can explain yourself and tell me, like, this is why I think I deserve all these, why I deserve this score. But at the very least, I just want to see you circle. Okay, and that is the reflection. I think earlier someone asked, like, can you handwrite it or do you have to type it? Yeah, like I said, you can choose to do either, fine by me. If you choose to type it, what I would suggest actually is to click on the final project folder and scroll down to this document that says final written reflection. Okay, I would suggest if you click it, you download it and you type your answers, into the document. Okay, so underneath number 1, you can type your response. Underneath number 2, you can type your response. Okay, so that's the reflection. If you guys have questions, then, send me a message or ask me in person today. Okay, at this point, we'll transition to working on the end of the year survey. So I'm going to send this in the chat. Go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to give this 5 minutes. I just would love some input from you guys about this year in language arts. What worked? What didn't work? Which units were helpful to you? Which units were less helpful? And things like that. Okay, so go ahead and click on the link in the chat, and I'll give you 5 minutes to answer these questions. Oh, and be honest, because honesty is very helpful for teachers.
The detective stories when we wrote our own detective stories, right?
Yeah, correct. That was the first unit of the year where we read The Landlady and Sherlock Holmes, and then we wrote our own really long detective story.
the Outsiders unit, we read the book and then did they answer questions about it, or?
With the Outsiders unit, mostly we read the book. There were a couple of other texts that we read. We learned a lot about symbolism that unit. I guess we did like the Carried Out project, and we also read an Outsiders essay. It's kind of wild when you look back and think like, oh my gosh, we did all of these things. I feel like this happens every year. It cracks me up that with questions like, which unit did you most enjoy this year? Literary analysis is always the least popular. But then when you get to a question like, which units were valuable? A lot of people vote for the literary analysis unit. So it's kind of funny that it's like one that everybody hated, but it was actually like kind of important. I don't know. Okay, so I've got, how many responses? I've got 36 responses right now. Oh, 37. Sorry, I guess that's including my first grade class. So 20 people so far have responded. There's 29 of us in the meeting, so I'm gonna wait just maybe another minute and a half. Getting there. So for the last couple of people, I think there's about 5 of us that are finishing up the questionnaire. I mean, like, take your time, that's fine. You can have a couple more minutes to finish that up, no rush. For the rest of us, I actually want to talk about the schedule for next week because it's not going to be the same as this week. Can you raise your virtual hand if you took a look at the schedules that were sent out last night? Maybe you and your family like looked at it, tried to make sense of the schedule. Or maybe you like talked about this in your first period class. Oh my goodness. Okay, so only a couple of hands. All right, well, I'm going to share with you what the schedule for next week is going to look like. And bear in mind, it's very confusing looking, okay? I think I'll also take a screenshot and share it in the chat, just in case. Okay, so the schedule for next week, in a nutshell, Cohort B is going to come, well, okay, Cohorts A and B are going to be in the building every single day next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's no homeroom next Wednesday. Instead, there is a day of classes, okay? So Cohort B is going to be in the building in the mornings. Cohort A is going to be in the building in the afternoons. And the times of the different classes is going to change almost on a daily basis, just because like Wednesday is a shortened day, Friday it's a 1 hour early release and stuff like that. So every day looks kind of different. So it's going to be weird, but if you have, like the schedule with you, then you should be fine. You'll still only have 3 classes a day. So like if you're Cohort B, on Monday you'll only have 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Tuesday you'll have 4, 5, 6. Okay. I already see some questions. Zach.
Like in the afternoon, do we have to come to online class?
Ooh, okay, I'll answer that question in just a second, okay?
Okay.
Grant, do you have a question about the schedule?
Well, no, that was, mine's basically the same thing. In the email sent to parents, it said that we do have remote class in the afternoon if we're Cohort B.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what other teachers are doing, but I think, just personally, I think it's a little bit silly if you're coming to school, like if you're Cohort B and you're coming to school in person in the morning, to then have to log into that same class like in the afternoon. To me, that doesn't really make sense, because like Cohort B and Cohort A are going to be doing really similar things. Why would you do it twice? So what I want to do next week is, if you are Cohort A or B, then you'll only attend my class when you are in person, okay? So that means if you're Cohort B, you'll only be attending language arts in the mornings at whatever time is happening. If you're Cohort A, you'll be attending language arts in the afternoon. You're not going to log on to Teams next week, okay? If you're Cohort A or B. Now, if you're Cohort C, I think what I'd like to do, because again, I think it's silly to like log in the morning and then like log into Teams again in the afternoon. Why would you do the same thing twice? So I think for Cohort C, what I'd like to do is have Cohort C join during the morning session, but not during the afternoon session, okay? And Cohort C people, just be ready to share your screen to show me like what you're working on, especially Monday, Tuesday. If you're still working on your final project, be ready to like share with me the progress that you're making on your final project, just so that I can see it quickly and know what's going on. So yeah, Cohort C people, you'll join me in the mornings on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Thursday, okay? So Cohort C people are the only people that'll log into Teams next week, and only in the mornings. Okay, are there questions now after that clarification? Did that make sense? Thumbs up if that made sense. Lillian.
I don't know if you already answered this, but on Wednesday, we go to school in the morning for 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. Do we do that online? I'm in B.
I mean, like you wouldn't. So Wednesday's kind of the weird day because it's a day when all the classes are happening, but like B is going to experience a different set of classes than A. For my class, I mean, like, there's not even a second period happening in the afternoon on Wednesday, so like, no, you don't have to log in. And if you're a remote person, or no, what am I saying? If you're a cohort A person, you don't have to log into my class on Wednesday. Only cohort C people will be logging into Teams and only in the mornings. Yeah, when the schedule, you guys, the schedule, I think it's gonna traumatize all of us just a little bit. Maybe that's a very strong word to use for a schedule, but there's a lot of weird stuff happening with the schedule. And I want to make it just like as easy as possible and like painless as possible. So, okay, any other questions about the schedule? Yes, that wacky face is definitely how I feel about it. Also next week, we'll be probably watching a movie for a good portion of the week. I still haven't decided if we're going to watch Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So yeah, it's probably going to be one of those two because they're Marvel, right? So we'll be watching a movie at some point next week. And I am going to try really hard to find a way for like cohort C people to be able to watch the movie too. But I know that like simulcasting or like streaming it through my Teams meeting might be kind of weird, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. In response to that, Dipper, my husband is very much like, you should play Spider-Verse because it's really comic booky and you just finished this like graphic novel unit. So, oh, did you? Weird. Wait, what do you mean?
They had it at like the auditorium, and all our homeroom classes went, and we watched it in the auditorium. They had like different movies you could watch in different classes.
Oh my gosh, you're totally right. I think that did happen, but that was your 6th grade year.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I wouldn't mind watching it again though.
Okay, well, we'll see. I kind of have to vet it. A lot of people in my other classes are highly interested in Homecoming, but I don't know if it has like bad language or stuff that's questionable that you're like not supposed to play in school. So I need to look into that. Why? Because we're in 8th grade, and unfortunately, like in high school, I think there's a lot more freedom and flexibility to play stuff that has language, but in middle school you have to be a little careful.
What about the one with the dead dogs that we had to watch?
What? Oh. Oh, you're talking about something the Lord made? Okay, yeah. That's true. That one did have language and it had dead dogs, so maybe that means Homecoming would be fine. Okay. Good point. Touche. Okay, anyways, you guys, if you don't have any more questions about... Oh, yes, Taha.
So the Homecoming is also marketed for children, so I don't... Just judging by that, I don't think there's going to be anything explicit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just looked at one of those parent reviews. I feel really lame when I have to do this, but maybe... whatever. I had to look up like a parent review of Homecoming, and they list out like, oh, there's this and this and this and this. And I remember seeing like a couple of words show up and a couple of like racy jokes, and I was like, it's probably fine. Maybe this list makes it look worse than it actually is. I don't know. But yes, I think that's true. Okay, anyways, yeah, if there's no other questions, then we're done, right? Like I will see you guys next week, either in person or online if you're a cohort C person, and work on those final projects. In class, we'll have a chance to do the reflection today and on Monday. But if you need to keep working on your creative portion, like do it today. Work on it today. Let's get it done and turned in. Okay, y'all can go, and I will see you in a couple days or later today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Gabby, do you have a question?
Yeah, so if you're cohort A, should I work on reflection today?